Oh, today is a good day. Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel for a Chelsea Football Club news video. Before we get into any stories, though, two things I want to say. First thing is if you're not yet subscribed, please do so. I feel like I say that every day, but I have to because there's still like 35% of people that watch these videos that haven't yet subscribed. And whilst you're at it, hit the like button on today's video because we've got good news. We've got big developments in the Kai Havertz story, a very exciting discussion to be had about a potential centre-back that could be on his way to Chelsea. But before we get into any of that, have you guys seen the 6-part documentary called Frank Lampard Coming Home, Homecoming, whatever it is? Like, it's basically like the journey between Frank Lampard becoming Chelsea manager at the end of this season. It's a phenomenal piece of work from the guys over at Chelsea. The media team have done incredibly well, brilliant edits, brilliant storyline, and watching it as a fan, someone who followed the club home and away last season as much as I possibly could before Corona came in, it was amazing just to see how when we're the fans inside the stadiums, when Chelsea is scoring goals or when we're blasting teams away from home, the away fans and how Frank Lampard, the young players, they all feel and feed into that energy that we were giving them. Brilliant stuff to see. You should go and watch it, but before that, stay tuned on the George Benson football channel. Got another video dropping later on today that you're not going to want to miss. But you're all here to hear what I have to say about Mr. Kai Havertz, the geezer that we've been courting, we've been talking about on the George Benson football channel for what seems like a bloody eternity. The man is still not a Chelsea player. There are some people that like to be like the realists on social media saying we shouldn't be talking about him, he's still a Leverkusen. I understand, you know, it's not done yet and I could look like a fool because I've been going on about it. I was one of the first people to say why Havertz would sign for Chelsea over Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, and then all of a sudden, they disappeared from the conversation about where Kai Havertz is going to go. Chelsea are the front runners, supposedly the only team in the world right now that can actually afford him, and of course that are also interested in him. The latest is that Chelsea have offered 85 million euros. Leverkusen will accept 95 million euros. Negotiations ongoing. Now, what we need to remember when it comes to things that are reported regarding transfer speculation, regarding developments with transfers, with bids and personal terms, is that we always hear after a conversation has happened. So, if Chelsea have narrowed the gap down, which was 20 million euros, and it's now narrowed down to 10 million euros, what this means is that right now, as you guys are watching this video, the negotiations to bring it even closer are going to be going ahead. There's not a single part of me that thinks that Chelsea are going to drop this deal for the sake of 10 million euros. I think that we know that we're not just buying a player with potential. We're buying a player that is already showing signs of being a world-class footballer. I don't want to sit here and say to you that I've watched every single minute of Kai Havertz in a Bayer Leverkusen shirt. I would be lying. But I do watch a lot of Bundesliga football. I've watched a lot of games, and I've also seen him play for Germany and look very good as well. Kai Havertz is the complete player. I think the versatility is perfect for what Frank Lampard is building at Chelsea. He can play in numerous different positions across the front line and even in the midfield. So this is the perfect signing for Chelsea. It's a marquee name. It's a name that gets players in the footballing world who might be interested in a move to Chelsea. It gets them really believing that they're joining a project that isn't just to like take the club from 4th to 3rd. It's a project that wants to make Chelsea Football Club the biggest in England and one of the biggest in Europe, competing for the Champions League season after season. Now with Werner already through the door, Ziyech already through the door, Havertz coming in, it's like, I'll show you something. I went shopping the other day and I bought these things here. These are, you know, power cables. You plug it in and the next thing you know, you got 4 to attack whatever it is you're plugging into it. This isn't a sponsored deal. These things cost me about £3 from a shop. But basically, when I saw these, I was like, blimey, looks like Chelsea's firepower for next season. You got 4 plugs here, 4 plugs there. It's a never-ending supply of quality. So great news. I don't really know why that was relevant, to be honest. That was a tangent and 3/4. But anyway, we move into the other tweets which are updating us on the Kai Havertz move. His personal terms already agreed. I don't think this has ever been in doubt. I think that we know that Chelsea were going to be willing to pay Kai Havertz whatever it is he wants to be paid. The geezer's already quality and Chelsea want his signature. Contract till 2025. Brilliant news. Nice little 5-year bashment. Financial package of agreement on fee. Personal terms. 100 million plus fee 100 equals 200 million, which would make Kai Havertz the most expensive German player of all time. And of course the tweet finishes with Abramovich, Granovskaya and Lampard are all on the same page. This is big news. Roman Abramovich would see the signing of Kai Havertz. We've got to remember, we've already made 2 massive signings, but a signing of this magnitude, for this kind of fee, it takes Chelsea away from being that club that spend 30 million and get a great player and sometimes it goes wrong, sometimes it's great. You know, we've always kind of been away from the Real Madrids, the Barcelonas, the PSGs when it comes to really spending astronomical sums of money on players. You've got United in that bracket as well. They spent a bucket ton on Paul Pogba. It's looking as though Chelsea are going to be spending something very similar, but bringing it back to what I said when we analysed the first tweet, it's also one of those things that right now, as we are speaking, as Chelsea get closer and closer, this deal is becoming more and more likely. I think this could be the last video that I make before we know that Havertz is about to become a Blue. There may well be some twists and turns on the way. I did have someone, one of you guys, on Instagram, which if you don't follow me, it's just at Mr. George Benson. One of you sent me a message saying if Bayern Munich win the Champions League this weekend and they also sanction the sale of Thiago Alcantara to Liverpool, could that make them all of a sudden back in the race for Havertz? Yes, it could. But at the same time, Bayern Munich have actually come out and said that they won't be making big money signings this summer because they've already spent a lot of money on Leroy Sané. So, Chelsea are not just in pole position, but it's almost as though we've lapped the other teams with the last lap to go with the signature of Kai Havertz. I think it's one of those where I'd be mind blown. I'd be absolutely baffled if Chelsea don't make that extra little bit of finance available to bridge that gap between Leverkusen's asking price and what we're currently offering. I think it's so close now, we can almost taste it. So, I don't know. I know that there's going to be compilations made of me being overly confident about this deal, and if for whatever reason it doesn't go through, I'll look like a mug. But you know what? That's what I signed up for when I made this channel. It's football. People like to take the Michael Owen out of people as much as they can for getting things wrong. It's the nature of the beast. But what we can confirm is that this deal is so close, it hurts. So Kai Havertz is about to become a Blue. Let's move in to story number 2 of this Chelsea news video today. And it surrounds a player that we have spoken about here on the channel. I made a video discussing 5 players, or I think it was 6, one of the 2, that I'd really love to see Chelsea go for this summer. One of them is a centre-back who is a free agent, and the Telegraph are reporting that Thiago Silva has been offered to Chelsea this summer. Now, a lot of people have said he's washed up, he's 35 years old, his best years are behind him. Correct, he is 35 years old. He's probably not got his best years ahead of him because he is 35 years old. But at the same time, what Thiago Silva would bring to Chelsea, an experience and a leadership that's almost unparalleled. There are very few players in world football that have the same kind of aura about them as Thiago Silva. The man's been there and done it on all different levels, and I think he would be a phenomenal player to have at Chelsea next season. I don't necessarily think he is the one-trick pony to come in and fix the defensive issues that have been glaringly obvious for the club this season, but on a free transfer, yes, his wages would be very high. It would probably be a deal that's only 1 year. And of course, at 35, you never know what's going to come around the corner. If Chelsea offered him more than a year, I would be incredibly surprised. Thiago Silva for a year. It's kind of like a temporary band-aid to what Chelsea will be looking to solve as a long-term thing. Thiago Silva wouldn't come in and be the captain material centre-back that you want for the next 5 years. But what he would do is it would allow Chelsea to bring in that reinforcement. The experience that he has, the qualities that he has, is absolutely key when promoting the players like Zuma, Tomori, Christensen. These guys, if Chelsea aren't going to sell them, which I hope they don't, Thiago Silva's experience and quality and leadership would be huge for these players to develop, even if it's just for 1 season. So, do I think Chelsea should offer Thiago Silva a contract? Yes, I do. Do I think they should also continue to pursue other centre-backs, such as maybe a Lewis Dunk, or we've been linked again, Koulibaly, supposedly, I bring up that big name. Napoli might be lowering their asking price, is a little rumour that I've heard going around. So, Thiago Silva, if he were to come in, I think it would just be a great player to have in the dressing room. He's definitely still good enough to have that ability to be called upon and give Chelsea a player who does bring up the average age of the club, but that isn't really the important thing. We're not trying, as Frank Lampard said in the documentary, we're not trying to just be this young club that can show off about how young the average age of the team is with all the academy players. Thiago Silva would bring in a real quality. And I think for a year, considering we're spending nearly 100 million on Kai Havertz, we've got other targets that we're still pursuing, such as Ben Chilwell and other players as well, it would be a good financial thing for Chelsea to free up some money so that next season we can analyse the market a little bit more and maybe spend a little bit more money if the centre-back problem isn't fixed and we don't see improvements from Zuma's, Rudiger's, Tomori's and Christensen's next season. If Chelsea haven't fixed that issue, it gives us the money to really focus on that next year. So as always, I would love to know what you guys have to say about these two stories in particular today in the comments down below. Thiago Silva on a free. For me, it's a bit of a no-brainer, despite the high wages that he would command. But at the same time, I'd love to know what you guys have to say. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys very much for watching this GBFC video today. As I said at the beginning, if you did enjoy it, hitting the like button lets me know that, and let me know your thoughts on the deals we've discussed in the comments down below, and I will catch you later with another video where we take a look at Chelsea's Premier League fixtures for next season. See you all there. Bye-bye.